Did you enjoy my 2 minute authority, White?
You're a silly cow.
I
I
think
was
you'll
actually,
find.
I was
Uh-huh.
trying to, do you use iCloud or not? I was trying to log into my iCloud every now, I don't know, every couple of weeks, my iCloud email logs out, and then when I try and log back in, it sends an authority code to my phone for me to log into my email on my laptop,
All
and I have to read.
right. No.
I don't know what it's about, but
Uh.
it always does it. And so I was trying to log into that, and I knew I was like, he's going to be sitting there going, "Oh, he's late again."
And also, I make you wait in the waiting room for 2 minutes. It's a dominance thing, you know? That entire time, then, imagine me just standing there, just staring at you, waiting in there, just for 2 minutes, you know?
It's like when you've got, yeah, what does it say? Your guest is in the waiting room or someone is in the waiting room and you're just there like, yeah, power trip, yeah.
Because I'm just taking control of the situation, you know? That's my circle of control, and I'm just fucking taking control of the entire thing, you know? That's what we do. But anyway, what have you been up to this week anyway?
Trying to get my Instagram access back.
He's been in prison.
It's not
He's
on,
been...
is it? It's not on, is it?
No, it's not.
You rip off someone else's reel and you get a viral reach on it. I make my own reel with some content from a sport and I get shut down.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not
what's
good.
happening in the world?
Yeah, so when did you get back? Because I noticed you liked my. I
No.
saw your icon pop up. I was like, oh, he's
He's
back, is
back.
he? He's
Um,
back.
I think it was Monday night. I got Monday evening. I got an email that said, "Oh, you warning, blah blah blah. You've used copyright material." I was like, "Ah," I knew straight away what it was, and then it obviously highlighted the post I did on Wimbledon, and then tried to open up Instagram, and it just wouldn't let me do anything. It just said, "Your access is
God.
restricted until 31st of July." So I couldn't, yeah, and I saw messages were popping up from you. I had a few other messages on there. I couldn't open anything. I couldn't view anything. And then I went online to look at other people, clicked on Reddit, and some people were like, "Oh, yeah, I've lost all, my account just got shut down from it." I was like, "Oh, great."
Jesus
I
Christ,
don't
that
have
is
a,
mad.
I don't have a massive following or anything, but I wouldn't want my Instagram account to just get
No,
wiped. You know?
because it's your business too. Like
Yeah,
ultimately, I know we talk about like it is a little bit different, I suppose, with me because I run my entire livelihood
of
through it
course.
basically. But for you,
Mm,
it's still a big deal. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you're still like growing your own personal brand in a way, aren't you? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So if you got
Um,
that scrapped and you just had to start again from zero, yeah, it wouldn't be fun, would it?
no, no, it wouldn't be. That'd be yeah, that'd be really tough to do that again now. But it's all good. You can message people okay on
Yeah, it's
there
all
again.
good. It came back on then on like the evening of the 31st, I think, exactly 3 days or something. But the thing
Right.
you can't really, if anything goes wrong, it's very, very difficult to get hold of like Instagram or Meta or whoever runs it now.
James is like just contacting Zuckerberg. Just like, oh yeah, sorry. Can I get Zuckerberg on the phone, please?
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
like
Instagram's
get
been
him round. Yeah, tell Miss James McCarthy. My Instagram's been done over. I want him on the phone now, please. Yeah, right ASAP. Yeah, please. Hey Zuckerberg, is this you, Zuck? Yeah. Sort it out, please. Sort it out right now.
wait until the day yours goes down. My God.
What, you're gonna be the catalyst for that, are you?
No, I'm just saying. I'm gonna be the
Oh yeah.
catalyst. I want you. I
Yeah.
want to shut yours down now. Do I? So you.
You, all I can imagine is you just there at 12 a.m., the fucking laptop like shining on your face, and you're just there like this, just fucking typing away, just like, just like hood up, just like you're like, uh, what do they call those people? The hackers. You're
Hackers.
like a hacker, just like setting me up, coding my Instagram,
Shut
you
down
know?
at the Welsh strength coach. Oh, sorry, no. And if that one doesn't work, look for previous names at the anti-cardio coach.
I'm gonna bring it back.
I will never get over it. The day I was like, I don't know what it was. It must have been 2020, 2021. And I went on my clicked on my feed and I could see like people who viewed it or whatever, and it was like the anti-cardio coach. I was like, what's this?
Where does it come from? I remember the business meeting like it was yesterday, and I got on the call with her, and
Yeah,
she was like, "Look, you're doing really well. I just think we have to sort that handle out, like it's just your name. You need something a bit more, divisive." And I was like, "Oh, right, okay. Well, I didn't really think of that before." And she was like, "Yeah." She was pulling up all these different pages for me, from like some successful strength accounts. She was like, "Ah, I've got it." And I was like, "What?" And she said it with such conviction.
yeah.
And she was like, "Anti-cardio coach, we're gonna go for that." And I was just like, but I'm not really sure if. And she was like, "No." She was like, "No, it's good. It's a good one because it's gonna show people the difference. The
Between you and
difference.
like a cardio.
Yeah, yeah. She was like, it's divisive. No, everything they talk about these
Yeah, I know.
fucking. And I was just like, I on the call, I was unsure. I
But you
was
went for it
unsure,
anyway.
and I went for it anyway. Yeah, because I was just like, oh yeah, I'll try it. It lasted approximately 36 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't long, was it?
No, no, it's not. And I had about three different messages from people, like about it straight away. It doesn't even make sense. Like, why would I be anti-cardio? What?
It's
I'm
like,
anti-heart health?
I get it. Oh, I know. I've got a new one for you now. The
What?
anti-bodybuilding coach. That's got to be it now.
It's gotta be in there. I
Yeah.
think I might change it for a day. I'm a kid now.
Oh, yeah, of course you are. Yeah. And also, know this. You're similar age to me then, because you may be older because I think you were 18 in 2001. Like sometimes I get accused, like my clients from like in the gym, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's the end of the set or whatever," or you've got another like a couple reps to go. They'll accuse me of like bad maths, bad counting, bad whatever, and I'm like, "You," like, and then I watched this video, and I was like, "You kidding me? You keep saying
Oh,
this kid was like in 2001, like 18."
oh. So that makes me, if I was 18 in 2001,
You've got to be late
then,
30s.
well,
No,
no,
be
right now
40.
I would
Oh
be,
no, sorry, yeah, you'd be 41 if you were in.
that's 24 years. So I would be 27, 37, 47. I'd be
No,
51.
you've overcooked that definitely.
Have I? Oh, no,
Yeah,
18. Yeah, so 18. So
41.
18 plus 24, what's that? 34, 44. Yeah, no, what's
Oh, hold
18?
on. I'm going to solve
Plus,
the problem. I'm going to use
yeah,
the
18 plus, but this should be
time.
pretty simple math, shouldn't it?
Hold on.
Let's be
Right,
honest.
right. 2025, and you were
So he said, right, so he said I was 18.
18 in. All right, okay. He said you're 18 in 2025. So 2025
No,
minus
no, in 2001. He said,
2001. Sorry,
yeah, yeah,
2001.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that's 24 years plus 18. So you'd be 42. Or you'd be 42 this year. Yeah. So
I'm
you're older than
40,
me. You're older than me
I'm
now.
42.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like the worst call out video of all time. I mean, I
Probably
watched
like
that.
ripped pictures off your website as well and stuff. And I
Oh,
think
that's
what
insane.
got me was and he wasn't even that lean. This guy dieted once, and he's not even stage lean. Well,
He
you could,
he was just so emotional, mate,
yeah,
throughout the entire video. Like I clicked on my profile and I was like, right, I've been tagged in a post. I wonder what this is. And so I just saw like this bodybuilder, like his profile picture, they're all the same and they like pulling up their shirt and just crunch over.
yeah,
And
and
I thought,
popping.
oh, here we go. And I saw like a paragraph, essay underneath. I thought, "Fuck, I've been called out, yeah." So I clicked on the video, and I mean, he's everything you'd expect him to be, And for whatever reason, his mouth goes funny, right? Because he's like so tense and emotional that
Yeah,
his mouth is like constricted up into this like Like throughout the video, he's
He's chewing on something.
like he's got hay in his mouth or straw or something. And and it starts off, he's you can tell his blood level is on a 13 out of 10, dude. Like he is livid and he's trying to, you know me. This is the funniest thing. Hands down, the funniest thing when a grown up is at a 13 out of 10 anger level and the cracks are showing. Is there, let, let's think of all the funniest things out there, yeah? Is there anything more funny than that? I don't think there is. So already I'm coming into that video. He's got straw in his mouth. He's at a 13 out of 10.
Yeah.
And he is trying his best to hold together the cracks. Seen that meme with like the superhero and he's got like the Spider-Man and he's got like webs on either side and he's trying to pull the crack together. That's this guy at this point.
There's
So
one meme I've seen of a kid in school and he's really red faced. He's got like a shaped head and he's got really red in the face because he's so angry. It's like,
it's like that, right? So anyway, throughout the video, he it's the worst call out video ever. Like he at not one point did he actually argue with any of the logic that I put out there. Like none of it. Like he didn't actually talk about any of the stuff that I talked about.
mm,
And so because he couldn't argue with my logic, he tried then to get himself higher up in the hierarchy by
yeah.
being dismissive and condescending rather than trying to argue the logic because he couldn't argue the logic. So throughout the video, maybe 26 times in 90 seconds calls me
Mm.
kid throughout. This kid, you know, this kid. Yeah, what's this kid know? You know, throughout the entire video. this this kid straw in his mouth,
Yeah.
yeah, holding it together, and I
And he
couldn't
keeps
believe
referring
it.
to when you did a cut as your cut being in 2001, I think. Was it
Yeah,
when you were
and I said yeah. So he called me a kid, and then says when I was, he says I was 18 in 2001. So he's
when you
got the
did your
maths
cut?
wrong. Yeah, yeah. When
Yeah.
I did my cut, so now I'm 42, and and then what was the other part? Oh yeah, that was it. Like went through my website, pulled up old pictures of me, went through all my
Mm,
old posts, like screenshotted old posts of me, and then started
mm,
criticizing how I look and my physique, and said
yeah.
I'm the type of lean, or I was the type of lean that. What did he say? Go to the club and uh, can I swear on this? Otherwise, it's going to get pulled down, isn't it? Or
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
blocked or whatever.
You swear. Yeah.
Fill in the blank. F. Can I say
Bitches in the F
bitch?
bitches.
Can I say that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is this going to like demonetize the podcast if you swear? I think it does, doesn't it? But it doesn't matter anyway. Anyway, FB lean, right?
Mm,
Because we can't bleep out. We ain't that good at editing. So he said, "Would you listen to this guy just criticizing like how I
yeah.
look? You know, is it is wild, mate. I'm telling you, like, so I didn't even bother, as you know, I didn't
Mm,
even bother commenting. I thought this is just wild. It's just I've entered into this world of like toxic material. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
these people are on another level, mate. You know, imagine going out of your way and like going through my old posts, screenshotting and then commenting on how I look.
Mm.
Oh God. Just so gross, isn't it? You know? Oh yeah. Anyway, so that's been going on. Still fucking they're still going on now. Like the
Is it
comments
what
and
on
all
that
that.
original post
Uh
or something
yeah,
else?
yeah, yeah, on the original. But this thing, like most people agree. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's only them. But can you believe I must be like heading in the right direction, mate. I got my first call out video now,
I know.
you know?
Yeah.
So what are we gonna talk about anyway? Have you thought of anything or not?
I have thought of nothing.
Well, I thought of a couple, so you can let me know if these are any good or not. If they're not, we can go with something else. So the one I did think about was um, so the safety in the gym,
Mm,
where I don't know if you saw a couple of months ago. It was we're a bit late to the party, but well, it's not a party. It's actually horrific. Someone died squatting. There was one
right.
in we was in I forgot what part of the world was, and it doesn't matter anyway. And then there was another one, so it was like two in a very short space of time. I don't know if we
Mm.
talked about that before already. So we could go down that sort of rabbit hole, or we could look at I think the one I was on about was tendon strength too. In
All right.
terms of like because yeah, it could be an interesting chat that, about like tendon specific strength, and you see people doing all these different like exercises and stuff like that, or psychology and lifting and like delving into um like the mindset that it takes to reach quite a high level, I think in a particular sport or wherever it might be. I don't know. Any of those
Lucky,
sounds
lucky dip, lucky dip. You go for it. You choose.
oh, lucky tip. We can cover all those at different points anyway,
Yeah,
can't we?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, um, the thing is with the psychology of lifting one, I
Mm.
don't know if you'd be able to like because I pushed like those heavier.
Yeah, I'm not in there thinking like, yeah, I'm not in
Yeah.
there doing like,
So let's rule that one out. Let's
all
rule
right,
that
yeah,
one out. Yeah, let's
that's
rule
more,
that one
yeah,
out.
it's very much more, that's more powerlifting. Isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Let's rule that one out. What about should we do the I tell you what, let's do one on athlete specific training, specifically through rotational movements. That could be a good one. Rotational movements.
Right.
Um, and some of the things that you might hear, because it's such an easy one to go down that.
Mm.
Like, I mean, there's so much garbage that you hear around athletes and training and all of that sort of stuff, you
Yeah.
know. And it got me thinking the other day. Do you know one of the sports? I believe, I wouldn't quote me on this directly, but I think one of the sports with the highest amount of injuries. Have a guess what it is.
Um, what non-contact injuries or contact injuries? So what are we
Just
talking?
overall. Just overall.
Um, I'm not sure because off the top of my head, I'm kind of thinking something more like impact based, like I don't know, American football or. But then I'm guessing you're probably going to say something like football, our football or basketball. Is it
I
one of the?
I think it's football.
Is
I
it?
think it's foot. Let me just double check this because I got that's one of the good things doing this podcast on the internet. I can pull her up.
I know
Um,
ACL injuries amongst women in football is very, very high.
yes, that could be a topic in of itself. Actually, football. Look, what should I type in? In sport with the highest injuries. The highest injuries. Let's have a look. Because to me, I heard that somewhere. Oh, right, here, actually. The thing is, you don't know how they're measuring this, do you?
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to quantify. Yeah.
Because right here, it says basketball.
I did wonder. I did wonder that one because you do hear a lot of, yeah, you hear of ACLs in that, you hear of Achilles in that, you hear of like, yeah. upper body injuries in that, yeah, all sorts. So I did think it was probably going to be basketball or football.
I think a large part of the reason why these people get injured is because, and you look at, this is the thing I say to people, right? Like, there is a very big difference between training for strength and training to get more athletic, wherever that might be, which isn't inherently dangerous, and then training for a sport, which is inherently dangerous.
Mm.
You could even, make the link between strength training and powerlifting, right? Like, although they are closely related, they both involve lifting weights.
Mm.
Even in powerlifting, you look at competition day, people can make huge jumps in weight just for the sake of coming first,
Yeah.
on competition day. So with that comes a more inherent risk in the sport of itself. Look at something like football.
Mm.
You look at something like basketball. What are you constantly doing? You're wearing studs, right? Not necessarily in basketball, but even with some of those shoes, right? It still happens with the grip and stuff from the soles.
Mm.
You're rotating about a fixed surface. And what happens, right? All sorts of knee problems, all sorts of ACL problems, right? Because the knee joint isn't designed to handle that amount of force when you're rotating about a fixed
Mm.
point of contact. And that's why you see a lot of these people getting injured. High prevalence of injuries. I think my microphone
Your
changed.
microphone, yeah, it did. It's back now.
Yeah, I don't know why that happened. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, it's on my other one now. I think there's a high prevalence of people in football that tend to get a lot of ACL injuries
Mm.
specifically because they're not strong. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know, you mentioned what are the statistics on that then? How do you know that there is a high
I
prevalence
remember,
in
yeah, it definitely is in females. ACL injuries are in football, females in football, so much higher than in the male game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right, I see. Oh, right, I didn't even know that.
Mm.
Um, I mean, look, I've been a big advocate of people doing more deadlifts for ages, right? Like, this point, it's like flogging a dead horse, right? Like, I'm like constantly go on about it, and I just don't
Mm.
think athletes listen. But people talk about deadlifts being risky. I
Mm.
think it's risky not being strong
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
doing your sport. That's my opinion.
yeah.
Talk about like the posterior chain development and how important that is for, especially if you're doing something that's inherently dangerous anyway,
Mm.
and you're doing that all the time. Why don't you make yourself stronger to mitigate that risk? So there is a big difference, and then because of that, you'll have coaches that come out to the woodwork, right? And they'll jump on this, right? And they'll say, "Oh, do you know what? I heard one the other day, which was hilarious. We tie bands on the end of our barbell so that we get a perturbation effect, in the walkout, and that perturbation effect creates a wobble that this athlete gets in his sport, and you can literally see in his sport he's wobbling around and he's getting pushed from side to side, and he's having to resist these forces. So we're now trying to replicate that in the gym.
Odd. Yeah.
Yeah,
But while
like
he's
literally.
walking out to perform a squat.
Yeah. So walking it out. So apparently you get this perturbation effect.
Mm.
Um, I've heard other coaches talk about this this whole idea of rotational um, forces that somehow are going to benefit you in the gym, right? And I thought that was quite an interesting idea because logically, if you look at sports, they do require some rotation, right? Some rotational force. You look at how someone throws a baseball. a pitcher throwing a baseball, right, requires some type of rotational element in terms of their
Yeah.
skill. You look at someone who plays cricket, someone who plays golf, wherever it might be, and they'll say, right, we need to work on that in the gym. We need to prioritize this in this person's training because this is what they do in their sport, and they are not in a sagittal plane of movement. It isn't going to benefit them because it doesn't resemble their sport,
Mm.
right? They need more rotation, or they need it somewhere in their program.
Done this. You probably don't though, because you're getting enough of that in your sport. So you're probably overusing that movement pattern as it is.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, and that's something that I think what we could do in this one is lay out a logical process for athletes to think about because the reality is I think athletic training has been overcomplicated over the years. I think because of this grey area in that so many different athletes they do have. Oh, is it paused, mate? Hang on a second. There he is. He's back.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, mate, because what did he say? He was just unstable and dropped out.
No, it didn't even say unstable. It just your screen froze and then
Yeah.
it hung there for about, I don't know, 30 seconds or something, and then just logged me out of the call.
It's like it hangs in and out of like pockets of connection in there, I think,
Yeah.
because it's very good and then all of a sudden it'll just drop out. But yeah, I can edit it anyway, so it
Mm.
doesn't matter. Yeah, so I don't know. Do you want to talk about that with the
Yeah, sure.
athletic stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's good.
What about you then? What's your thoughts on all of it? Because obviously with some of the stuff I've chucked out there, like perturbation effects and rotational exercises and all this sort of stuff.
Mm.
What's your perspective on all that?
To be honest, I think it's a bit of yeah, missing the forest for the trees, like chasing that kind of stuff. I think you're personally better off preparing your body to be obviously strong and resilient to handle the demands of your sport. And then obviously once you can do that, then work on increasing your force production by producing more force through the gym and working on your ability to sprint, jump, plyos. So
Yeah, yeah,
like and then and play your sport. And don't get such into the weeds of like worrying about like what you're saying there about like the rotation of stuff and being slightly off balance in your sport and things like that, and then trying to like bring that into the training side, like keep the
right.
training what it's good for, getting you stronger, getting your body more resilient, and then do the other stuff away from it.
Well, that's perfect, mate. And that's exactly why you don't have to worry about rotational exercises, right?
Yeah.
So the one of the most important pieces of writing, I've talked about this before, and I keep bringing it up because it is so important that I've ever read was by Mark Rippetoe called The Two-Factor Model of Sport Performance. If you're listening to this, stop what you're doing right now and read that article because it really does it cuts through all the noise that comes with athletic training, right? And I think there is an awful lot of grey area
Mm.
that people think. Sorry, there's a lot of grey area with athletic training. That's a better way of putting it. Because we have different sports, different demands, and they become overly specific in terms of the training regimen relative to the sport that they practice in. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't believe in athlete specific training. I don't believe in sport specific training. And
Mm.
they're two very different things. I think if you're training an athlete, you need to look at, okay, what are what does the sport not give you in the sport in of itself, if we've just played that you need to work on outside the gym, right? Now, 9 times out of 10, and again, depending on the sport, but most of the time, that's going to be strength because ultimately improving your force production is going to always be of a benefit to you. And also, too, you don't get that overload in a sport, right? Power production is going to be another one. Endurance, to be honest, like that's pretty much baked into your sport, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's one which really needs extra attention to it.
Sorry, does or doesn't need extra attention?
Doesn't,
Doesn't. Yeah.
doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, doesn't. And so I believe in looking at those sorts of things, right?
Mm.
I also believe in looking at, okay, what's the athlete's age? What position do they play? What injuries is commonly associated with this sport? And
Mm.
it's good to have an understanding of those things,
Yeah.
right? So when I look at athlete specific training, I think about those things. I think about running a needs analysis to understand all of those things. What I don't believe in is when you try and merge practice and training. And we've talked about this tons of times before. And the reality is that they are very different things. Very different. You've got practice, which, let's be honest, is the most important thing for an athlete.
Mm.
Because without practice, you're not going to be Messi or Ronaldo.
No,
You're
you
not going to,
be the greatest athlete in the world. You still need the skill.
yes, yeah, exactly. You need that skill. Like
Mm.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You need that there, right? Um, and skill work is broken down into one of three different components. So you have singular movements or technique on very basic movements. Because I enjoy boxing, we can use boxing as an analogy, and I think it's a fairly straightforward one. So that would be throwing a jab, right? Learning how to throw a cross, learning how to throw a hook, learning how to throw an uppercut, right? Which are pretty much the main punches really that you have in boxing.
Mm.
Learning how to move your feet, right? Or learning, maybe this is a better example, learning how to push off your back foot, learning how to push off your front foot and retreat backward properly, right? Those are singular components of a much bigger piece that's required in sport. Then you have the next level up in complexity, which is combinations. So combinations are learning how to string punches together in this example. So learning how to throw a jab followed by a cross, a 1-2. Learning how to throw a jab if you're into Muay Thai, and then a kick off the back leg, right? A calf kick or something like that. Once you've moved beyond combinations, usually, which is the most complex form of skill practice, is live play.
Mm.
And that is actually playing your sport itself or taking segments of your sport in that you would be doing in a game and splitting that up in your training, right? And working on those components. So for instance, in rugby, that might be line out practice with a set play, with a defensive, with a team on the defense trying to tackle you, right? So usually you will see athletes if they've mastered the basics, they've mastered combinations, and they're doing that in their training. Hands down, that is the most important thing, right? And so what we do as coaches, we look at that and we think, right, what does that sport not cover?
Mm.
What attributes does that is not being touched on there? And we work on those general physical qualities. Now enter two-factor model of sport performance, which states if you try and merge the skill practice with the physiological adaptations that we train in the gym, you end up with very poor quality training and very poor quality skill work. And in fact, it can actually backtrack the skill work and alter the coordination of the movement and set you backwards. And you don't get an awful lot of great stimulus to develop the physiological adaptations that you're trying to
Mm.
achieve. So we want to train the biomotor ability. That's what we want to do. And we use the best methods to be able to do that. And in my opinion, that looks like your basic barbell movements because they allow you to include a lot of muscle mass, take it across a long effective range of motion or the longest effective range of motion, progressively load it over time. It's measurable. You can actually see the improvements there. Um, and it's safe, it's safe. Like just literally before I came on, one of my clients sent me a video of a young lad who's got two dumbbells in his hands and he's jumping onto a box with two dumbbells over his hands laterally,
Yeah.
right? And he clips his ankle on the edge of the top of the box, rolls it 90 degrees and completely fractures his ankle and it has a compound fracture. Now he was on gas and air by the end of the video.
Yeah, I can
Now,
imagine. Yeah.
like the best safety equipment in a gym is a coach that knows what they're on about.
Mm.
That's the best safety equipment in a gym. And if your coach is doing this garbage functional movement patterns with you, which isn't actually going to yield any benefit or nowhere near as much benefit as what you could be getting progressively with a barbell on your back, with good technique, safely for a full range of motion with small jumps, then I'm sorry, you're really missing the forest for the trees. Um,
What do you think of like slightly different, but what do you think of then someone like for a sport using like specialized strength exercises?
like what, for instance, would you
I
say?
don't know, be it like a sprinter or someone, yeah, whatever in that aspect, like kind of loading those movement patterns.
So what would it like? Give me an example of that. So like sprint specific exercises you referring
Yeah, when you
to?
see that, so like this is something I've had uh like I've been talking with Daniel, the guy who gives me the mentoring on speed training.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, should I use the sled and should you use the sled when you're training clients who are trying to develop the speed? And he explained why you shouldn't really do that because you're actually changing the mechanics of the movement by doing that, which is a little bit like
Mm,
what you said there about the skill. Like people load up the sled and they think that's going to they're going to run sprints or run accelerations with the sled, and then all of a sudden they're going to take the sled off and they're going to be going faster. Like in theory, that's kind of like what you think. But then what happens is often you get used to, you don't develop the ability to project forward as much because once
mm,
you've got the sled around you, and that's kind of giving you like a safety mechanism of like someone giving you like a harness, pulling you back. And then when you remove that weighted sled from you and you try and sprint, now your hips are hanging back behind you because you no longer have the confidence to project forward because you're used to sprinting with this load behind you. So it can actually like negatively impact like your sprint mechanics.
Well, that's a prime example of what I was talking about.
Mm,
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, because it's altering the movement pattern, right? And so I believe in a very clear boundary between what qualifies as skill work and what qualifies as developing an adaptation in the gym. And if you start merging those two things at all, that's a big red flag straight
mm.
away, for that reason
Yeah.
specifically. And what I would ask, I'd start asking coaches questions, right? That's where I start because when you ask questions, you force them to critically think about their thought process, you
Mm.
know? What advantage does that give you over just improving your strength?
Yeah.
Let's start there, right? Like, what specific advantage are we looking for? Because one, these coaches will say, "Oh, it's highly specific to what we're doing in our sport." Well, you're getting that from the skill of your sport anyway,
Mm.
right? So not only are you getting that from the skill of your sport anyway, you're getting a more specific a more specific skill adaptation, right? So you gain more specificity,
Mm,
right? And what you just pointed out there is that you can actually deter from the proper skill and make it like change it altogether, right? And actually affect what you're trying to get good at in
mm,
a negative way. So that's the first thing, and also the second part would be is that if we know that we can get more force production from better alternatives to this, then why aren't we using it? And then just leave them answer, you
mm.
know? And the reality is that I think that is too simple. That's what I think. I
Yeah,
think it's too
yeah.
simple, and I think it's hard and it's not sexy.
Mm,
And I think that's why people are reluctant to buy into this idea of you just need to squat, deadlift, press, chin, pull something towards you, whether that's a row or wherever it might be, Olympic lift or whatever you want to use, right? And progressively load it over time.
mm.
Yeah. But who wants to
Do
do
you think
that?
about using single leg exercises then in training?
Um, like I'm not like because I know you use a lot of. I tell you what, let me flip it back on you this question
Right.
because you do a lot of single leg work, don't you?
Mm.
Um, what's your thoughts on that anyway? Oh, by
So,
the way, before we get into it, an
yeah.
ATG guy commented on one of my posts, my squat, mate.
Oh, really?
Apparently, I have a terrible squat. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, you have a terrible squat, and then some of the stuff you say, I was like, I was gonna screenshot and send it to you.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's like someone who has who does a low bar squat versus someone who does the high bar squat, then there's always going to be that, oh, yeah, you're not squatting, that's the grass and all that.
Yeah,
It's always going to be that discussion, isn't
yeah,
it? You know?
I had all of that, all of it. But anyway, yeah, off topic. Yeah. So what's your thoughts on single leg work anyway?
In what respect? So for me, I use it.
Yeah.
So I will like in my training, I will once a week I will barbell back squat, like yeah, ass to grass, obviously, and then um so that's my heavier loading. And then on one of the other days, most of the times it's like if I'm sprinting twice a week, it's two sessions in the gym, and then one of the sessions in the gym will then be usually an ATG split squat. I do that for because I'm loading a single limb, the one side, so I'm biasing to that side, but also because I like the mobility benefit I get from it.
Right. Right.
It flexes on the backside, so it's kind of like a double whammy on that. I am biasing training the one side more to the one side, but also because I like the mobility effects. Like, yeah, I could, I guess, back squat twice a week, but also I find there's more recovery demands if I was going to do that and try to sprint twice a week, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're in a unique situation there where your training goals, I suppose, are different completely, right? Where your objective is you want to be sprinting when you're 80, right? Like
Mm,
that's your thing. And you've also got a lot of recovery resource. You've also got a lot of stress going into that bucket across
mm,
your week, right? And the reality is a lot of that stress is going to come from sprinting work, which you need to do, you know?
mm.
And because of that, your training week is going to be looking a little bit different. Now, I think as a fatigue management tool, but you still get a little bit of stress there, I can see the utility in single leg work because you're still getting some stress from
Mm.
that too. You're training your mobility, like you said, as well. And it can be a useful substitute for something like a back squat, for
Yeah.
instance. Now, I don't think that the amount of stress relative that you can get from a squat versus a single leg movement, they're not comparable, right? Because you're using one leg. But I can see its utility there in a training week for sure. Now, I don't necessarily use them in my
It's not beneficial
training.
yeah, for your end.
Yeah,
Is that really, I guess?
yeah, yeah. And also the other thing as well. I mean, you enjoy doing them too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
I
another
enjoy how I
thing.
train. It's like so
Yeah.
many. Like, if you can see yourself the way you train doing that in 20 years' time, then you're winning, really, aren't you? Versus
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can see myself keeping this up for 3, 4 months, and then I'm going to knock it on the head because I can't stand going in the gym and doing this.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's a big factor.
Not going to
Yeah.
bring up whole bodybuilding and all that kind of and like photo shoots again, but that is a big thing with all that where you're training just for the end goal is just to get a certain appearance, and
Right.
it's no intention then of continuing, doing giant sets in the gym where you're jumping between leg press and leg extensions and whatever. Like nobody is going to continue training like that, are they?
No. No.
Doing that for like what,
It.
20 minutes or something and dieting yourself down, and that's it, job done. Like the way I train, the way you train, you enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing that, and I want to keep doing that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, mate. Definitely. But yeah, it's so true. Enjoyment's a big factor, in what you do. But yeah, to come back to the whole thing about my thoughts on single leg work. I think, yeah, if you enjoy it and you still got the squat in there somewhere, it can essentially act as a light day for you, effectively,
yeah.
Um, I didn't see any issue with that at all,
Mm.
none at all. But yeah, so that's a really important one, I think, like creating that distinction and barrier for people because you can now after listening to this you can go online, look at any type of training and think, well, if he's trying to mimic what he's doing on the pitch already, I know this is complete rubbish, um
Some of Barcelona's training clips they put up the other day it was shocking. I don't know. I meant to send it to you.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they had like resistance bands around them, like kind of getting them to side shuffle out. You're like, what are you like? What's the thought process behind that? And they're not moving any intensity either. So it's like, what is the purpose of the holding the resistance band and getting them to almost jog out laterally? I have no clue what that's trying to achieve.
I just I don't get it. I really don't get it, I like people say, oh, they'll do these rotation based exercises in the gym. This is another one
Hmm.
we can talk about. I actually think to a degree they're pretty dangerous. Some of the stuff that I've seen.
Which kind of things are you talking about? Like, name me a couple of exercises you're talking about when you say,
Well, I mean, like squatting, lunging with a bar on your back and twisting,
oh, right, yeah.
and trying to progressively load that over time.
Hmm.
That's dangerous
Hmm.
because you're loading structures asymmetrically that aren't supposed to be tolerating those levels of forces
Hmm.
dynamically. The reason we lift statically in these movements is because it's safer. Because you can load force, it's never going to be with 100% symmetry, right? But with more symmetry, then you can something like that.
Hmm.
And that's why you can progressively load it over time. If you progressively load something like that over time, the whole thing of tissues adapt. I'm sorry, yeah, tissues adapt, and they can also adapt negatively too.
Hmm.
And that can happen, and you can continue doing that until something goes very, very wrong, you know? So that's why we don't do that in the gym, right? There are, of course, some exercises you can do with rotational elements in that are fine, but you can never do that heavy enough for it to actually merit an actual significant stress,
Hmm.
right? Um, you can't really do that explosively, under a submaximal weight, in my opinion. You look at sports in general, right, where they're rotating under very high velocities. They're done with very, very low intensities, right? So if you start loading that up, that's an issue. That's an
Hmm.
issue waiting to happen, and it's not getting talked about enough. So there's a very specific reason why we do what we do. And
Yeah.
there's a reason why we load it statically with good technique because we want longevity. We want this. This should be the safe part of what you do, not the dangerous part. You're
Hmm.
already putting yourself in enough danger doing your sport, you know? let alone doing silly crap in the gym,
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that breaks that one down anyway, mate. Anything else you want to add to it?
So, question on you: what do you think? It's slightly off topic, but as we're discussing, what do you think of people then who 1 RM machine based lifts, like pendulum 1 RM?
Well, I'm gonna write about this pretty soon, actually.
Hmm. So if I came
And
to you and
I,
I said, right, I have just done like 180 1 RM on the pendulum squat. Why don't you back squat? Because I don't like it and I don't care.
so injuries happen in the gym
Hmm.
for stupid reasons like this, right? When you isolate a joint, like whether that be accessory movements, wherever it might be, or you fix several joints in position
Hmm.
and load it really, really heavy, you are forcing you are forcing joints to take a load that wouldn't have otherwise taken that load if you had just trained that movement pattern in a normal human way.
Rather than being fixed, like locked in kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you look at very, very heavy preacher curls. What does that do?
Hmm.
That forces a stress onto a joint, a very small joint, that isn't designed to take a very heavy load.
Yeah.
And that's why people rupture their biceps a lot.
Hmm.
Happens a lot, right? Um, you look at, as you pointed out, a pendulum squat. Um, what happens when you're fixed into a very specific position? And people will use the argument, I can already hear it now. Oh, machines are designed really well today. Like you can adjust it and it's just fine. Sure. But at the same time, you are creating a very rigid movement pattern. You are not training it in a very specific. Those machines have been designed to unevenly distribute stress to
Hmm.
specific locations on your body. So
And I
whether
think
you, yeah, sorry,
no,
mate.
I think so. I think you can do them like more. Yeah, you want some more like volume at the end of your session, and you're doing them sub-maximally. I don't really
Yeah,
see an issue with that. I
yeah.
personally, I see the problem when people are like ego lifting on them and going like, "What's my 1 RM on the pendulums?"
Right, right. And that's what you just brought up. There's a fair point, and it's a different conversation altogether.
Mm,
That, and I think the issue is that people when they're maxing out on a machine, it's not designed for that. The machine is designed to redistribute a stress onto different joints,
mm,
and in my opinion, there is an accident waiting to happen, especially if you're maxing out,
mm,
because you are restricting movement of joints that would have otherwise had more freedom to move and more evenly distribute that stress. So it's an accident waiting to happen, in
mm.
my opinion.
Yeah.
And again, people say, "Oh, tissues adapt over time." That is a rubbish argument. Rubbish argument. Because, as I said, tissues can adapt poorly. They can adapt poorly, and injuries will happen that way. Otherwise, why do we have coaching?
Hyperextension on the leg press is the one I've seen. Ah, that's horrible.
I mean, I just, it's beyond me, mate. Some of the stuff people are doing today,
Mm,
it's beyond. Without sounding too cynical on this podcast, but I don't know. The more I'm learning about strength training, I think the more I do listen to people, and I keep an open mind, of course, But some of the stuff that I see out there today is, I mean, it's pretty eye-opening, to say the least.
you don't use a dumbbell at all now in your training, do you? It's just
No,
barbell for everything, is it? All of your exercises.
I use barbells. That's
Yeah.
it.
Do you
Now,
do you program like pull-ups and dips in your training at all?
I program chins. Yeah, I
Yeah.
program chins. Now, the reason I looked at it this way, and it's something I've changed my mind on recently with accessories, I think accessories are one, um, not necessary. I don't think they're necessary, and I got my idea on why that is. And two, I think they can be dangerous for the reason I just outlined there. Not with obviously very lightweights, right? Very lightweights, you're not going to hurt yourself. But with heavyweights, they can be dangerous. Now, the reason I don't, I like assistance lifts, barbell assistance lifts for the right person, and I can see how they can serve someone. Um, But in terms of accessories, I actually don't think they constitute a high enough stress to force any type of an adaptation. And I think the only way you make a muscle bigger is by making it stronger. I don't think there is any other mechanism behind making a muscle bigger. I've read Brad Schoenfeld stuff, gone through the entire book. Doesn't line up with my practical experience.
Mm.
No set of leg extensions taken to failure. And I've done, you name it, I've done it, right? I'm from the valleys. I'm like, I've done arm day 6 days a week, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But that has never made my legs bigger. Maybe when I was a complete novice,
Mm.
maybe. But if you can honestly look at your legs and say, yeah, they got bigger because of leg extensions, I'm sorry, you're lying to yourself. They have not made your legs bigger. What's made your legs bigger is a progressive stress over time, and likely with a heavy enough stress to disrupt your homeostasis. So accessories, all accessories do is add unnecessary junk volume when you could be at home recovering, you know? And I think the stress is so minimal that it doesn't actually challenge your body. It's like people doing a plank
Yeah.
to make their abs stronger. It's like, look, and I've changed my mind on this. I used to do this not long ago,
What?
maybe,
Max?
well, 7, 8 years ago. No accessory stuff,
Oh,
right?
right. Just like
Like, yeah, play. But like, what stress is a plank gonna give me when I'm squatting 255
Mm.
to make my core stronger?
So what do you think then about isolated core work? What's your thoughts on that?
Rubbish,
You think, really?
rubbish. And
So,
I think and I'll tell you why.
right.
Because your core is the function of the core is to isometrically contract
Mm.
to protect your spine, right? So when you isometrically contract your core under a very, very heavy load, what happens? You get stronger,
Yeah.
right? So not only you train in the function of the core musculature,
Mm.
but you're also loading it sufficiently too and progressively over time. So all you're doing when you're
Yeah.
when you're isolating, right? One, you're not actually training the function of the core, right, and how it was actually intended to operate.
Mm.
Where those muscles are now isometrically contracting in simultaneously. So you're getting that functional aspect of it, but two, you're actually it's progressive, and that's my thing. I always come back to it has to be progressive, right? Because if it's not progressive, you're not moving the needle anyway, right? You're not
Mm.
moving it forward, you know. So that's my it's evolved over the last few years,
Yeah.
I used to do it all, mate. Like I've done it
Yeah.
all, and I came to the realization of like my whole thing is I want to cut the fat off what I do because I'm busy. I got a lot of stuff to get
Mm.
around and do, like everybody else is. I'm not alone in that. Like we're all busy. We've all got stuff to do, So I don't want to do stuff
Mm.
I don't need to do, you know. I'd rather
How long do your
recover.
sessions in the gym then?
Oh mate, honestly, these days, lower body anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes, upper body anywhere from 30 to at a max 60 minutes.
'Cause you used to be a 2 hour guy, didn't you, in the gym?
Sometimes they can be if it's like a
Yeah.
high volume heavy day.
Right.
But I mean I'm in there as a byproduct of the training, like however long it is, but
Yeah.
I'm not like in there doing pointless accessories anymore, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's good. Again, I think I'm turning into I. It's amazing because I just try and be honest, and I try and be and I'm very simple and straightforward,
Yeah.
and somehow that's provocative, apparently, you know. So, you know. But anyway, I gotta pop off to the gym, mate. I gotta get to the new house. But yeah, anything else you want to add to that,
No,
or?
no, not at all.
No. That's gonna get me roasted again. This, you know what you're doing. This is the thing. This is the thing.
I didn't put any words in your mouth. I asked you.
You edge me on.
I was
That's
like,
what you
I was
do.
like, what do you think of core exercises? I mean, I do core ex. I do dragon flags. I do like, I use core isolation work in my training and stuff. I'll also do like back extensions, which is part of like you could class that as a core exercise, like the whole unit of the core. So I just asked you your opinion. You
Yeah.
spat it out.
And there we go. Hey, there we go. I've just fucking torched James's hopes and dreams, you know. Well, mate, and that's again like dragon flags. In all serious, dragon flags are fucking that. I tried them. They're tough. Do you know what I mean?
I thought you
They're
could tell me
pretty
those
tough.
shit.
Yeah, I said just like Bruce Lee there. Next time I pop round your house, I just see you in the corner of the room like Bruce Lee, just
Yeah,
fucking.
Joe, we're gonna next time you come down, we're gonna do tests in the gym. Let's see if you're
What,
model.
and just caption everything I just said of the video, just playing in the background as I'm just flumping to the floor.
Core exercises are rubbish, and then you
And then I just flump over. Just
accessory accessory exercises don't add any stress, and they're gonna get you doing conics or something.
just just like thrown back in my face, you know?
One day we'll do that. You can take me through your training, and I'll take you through my training.
That's a good YouTube video. That's
I
a
would
really
be, it
good
would be.
YouTube
Yeah, I've seen
video.
them before where they do like. I mean, my training isn't solely calisthenics, is it? But like, it would be interesting to see. Like, yeah, it'd just be funny, wouldn't it? Like, I can try your stuff and get crushed, and you can try my stuff, and
Get whopped. The Whopper gets whopped. Title Jumbo guess his, you know? Just the thumbnail of the video. I quite like that. Jumbo Man gets his. Anyway.
playing the audio clip in the background of you like, it's rubbish. This is rubbish. That's rubbish.
And just you just there, just like I'm hanging from some like what do they the rings. I've got I'm in an L sit and you're just there just smacking me in the stomach. Just like Mr. Miyagi, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, right, I gotta pop off, mate, because I gotta go to the house. I'm gonna do some boxing and then I'm gonna head straight to the house. I said I'd help out, but
All right.
that was really good. I enjoyed that. That was
Yeah, yeah,
quality.
yeah.
But I'll edit it all anyway. Instead, do you want to see us out? Go on, you see us out.
Yeah, so is it all right? Guys, if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating, a review, and subscribe on Spotify and iTunes, and we'll catch you in the next one.